Psychometric properties of physical self-instruments in different cultures. Recently, the greatest step forward in physical self-research has been facilitated by the development of multidimensional and hierarchical physical self-instruments of the Physical Self-Perception Profile, PSP, and Fox-Corbin 89, and the Physical Self-Description Questionnaire, PSDQ, Marsh et al. 94. These two instruments were originally validated on the English-speaking populations of Western cultures, with a strong emphasis on individualism. Fox and Corbin 89, Marsh et al. 94, Hein et al. 90, argued that much more of what we apparently know about the self-concept is based substantially on a North American perspective that cannot be assumed to be generalized to other social and cultural settings. In physical self-research, the sports sciences, more specifically, much support for the psychological instruments of the theoretical models has been based largely on the response of students from English-speaking countries. Although there has been some research in other countries, it is important to evaluate rigorously the response of instruments that have been carefully translated and test the theoretical predictions in cross-cultural settings. Translation of instruments into other languages offers the opportunity to study the construct validity of the questionnaire in different cultures and to assess the generalizability of its factor structure. However, it is well known amongst test developers that the use of tests in a culture other than the one in which it was developed requires evidence of the test's reliability and validity in the new setting. Nowadays, there is an increasing attempt to test psychometric properties of the physical self-instruments on non-English speaking nations and cultures other than those developed Western European nations. For example, Eshi and Zorba 99 investigated the psychometric properties of the PSPP and provided support for its validity and reliability, specifically among Turkish university students. The four-factor structure of the PSPP was supported and the obtained reliability evidence was acceptable. Zero-order and partial correlation analysis also supported the hierarchical structure of the Turkish version of the PSPP. In addition, the PSPP was validated with college students in the United Kingdom. Page, Ashford, Fox, Biddle 93, and among Flemish adults, Van de Ville et al. 02. The PSPP has been found to have good cross-cultural validity in a number of other countries, including Canada, Crocker, Eklund, Kowalski, Ott, Spain, Atienza, Balagua, and Moreno, Fox 04, and Portugal, Ferreira, Fox 03. The predictive validity of the PSPP was also tested in different countries. For example, Fox and Corbin 89 assessed the predictive validity of the subscales of the PSPP through their relationships with both degree and type of physical activity involvement among American university students. The analysis indicated that the four PSPP subscale scores differentiated between active and non-active American university students. Percent correlated class for females was 70.7 and for males 70.4. And for both American females and males, the physical condition scores were the most important determinant of physical activity participation. Page et al. 93 evaluated the predictive validity of the PSPP for British university students and reported that the four PSPP domains could correctly classify 74.1 of subjects as low as 83.3 as high in physical activity. Similarly to American university students, the physical condition scores were the dominant variable in physical activity prediction. Recently, Eshi, Kagle, and Karaka 3 tested the predictive validity of Turkish versions of the PSPP on 879 university students. The discriminant analysis using the four PSPP subscale scores to differentiate between active and non-active Turkish university students indicated that the PSPP could correctly classify 59 of males and 61.3 of females. The physical condition variable for males and the sport competence variable for females were the most important in their respective discrimination functions. Besides studies on the psychometric properties of the PSPP, some research have been examined the physical psychometric properties of the PSDQ, for different cultures. For instance, Ashi At conducted a study on the psychometric properties of the PSDQ in the Turkish culture and reported that the PSDQ is a psychometrically sound instrument for measuring physical self of Turkish university students. In addition, Nig and Norman, Rossi, and Benedict Fox Alt3 tested the internal validity of the PSDQ factor structure in a North American sample of young adults and examined the multidimensional hierarchy structure of the physical self. CFA results provided clear support for the 11 theoretical constructs of the PSDQ for American university students. Clumpston also validated the PSDQ among Norwegian populations, and their results supported at a priori structure of the PSDQ. Clumpson, Skavlik, and Espinal, 4, Still and Marsh, Richards, and Afferman, 3, used the construct validity approach to test the psychometric properties of the PSDQ for elderly Australians, and sound psychometric properties were found. Recently, Still and Afferman, 5, tested the German version of the PSDQ for adolescents and adults 16 to 28 years old, and found support for the 11 components of the German version of the PSDQ. The Children and Youth Physical Self-Perception Profile, the CYPSPP, and other physical self-instruments of assessing perception of children in the psychometric domain. Whitehead, 95, published a version of the PSPP that was modified for children and youth, the CYPSPP. This modification was developed with the assumption that because of self-esteem is becoming differentiated in childhood and adolescence, the CYPSPP content would be the same for the college students. PSPP would, but perhaps be less factorially distinct in subdomains. However, the same four-factor construct and hierarchical model was supported, and further evidence of the construct validity was found. Similar results were reported by Welk, Corbin, and Lewis, 95, using the CYPSPP with a sample of athletes. Subsequently, Eklund and Whitehead and Welk, 97, examined the functional or the factorial validity of the hierarchical global to self domain structure of the CYPSPP using confirmatory factors analysis, the CFA, and supported the initial evidence of reliability and validity published in the Whitehead 95. An exploratory study by Welk, Corbin, Dowell, and Harris in 97, and a recent confirmatory study by Welk and Eklund in 5 supported the utility of the CYPSPP model in elementary school children. Like the PSPP and the PSPDQ, the psychometric properties of the CYPSPP have been tested in different cultures. For example, Ashi, Eklund, Whitehead, Clancy, and Kolka, 5, recently reported evidence supporting the factorial validity of the reliability of the CYPSPP for Turkish children and youth. Furthermore, Rostorp, Stahl, Galasik, and Kinnunen and Matthäusson 5 validated the Swedish translation of the CYPSPP and reported good concurrent and content validity and retest reliability. In summary, these studies have provided strong support for the utility of physical self-instruments in various cultural settings. Specifically, the findings revealed acceptable psychometric properties of the physical self-instruments of non-English speaking nations and cultures, other than those developed in the Western Europe nations. In the literature, however, it's possible to find studies that have used different methodology approaches for testing the validity of physical self-instruments in different cultures. In the following sections, these studies will briefly summarize under 3 subheads: multi-trait, multi-method analysis related to the physical self-instruments with external criteria, and known group differences.